Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new reading vlog. Finally it's happening. We're reading Shadow Kiss by Richelle Mead. I've had a lot of you guys asking me about this lately, and yeah, I am late. I didn't mean to take a break from my reread of this series. Things just got crazy with the past month. You guys already know what was going on if you've stayed caught up on my videos. If this is my first video that you're seeing though, I've been doing a reread of the entire Vampire Academy series, and I have a reading vlog up for each of the books. So I will have my reading vlogs for Vampire Academy and Frostbite linked down below in the description if you missed them and you want to see them. Obviously this is the third book in the series. This vlog's gonna have spoilers in it, so if you haven't read the series and if you haven't read this book, probably don't want to watch this video. I am gonna be talking about specific things happening in the book as I read it, as I do with all of my reading vlogs that are dedicated to a particular book. But yeah, I started this yesterday. I'm only on chapter 3 so far. Just like with the last one, I'm realizing how much I forgot. I forgot that Rose sees Mason as a ghost. Completely forgot that plot line. To be fair, it's been over 6 years since I've read this book. I forgot that Rose got assigned to Christian instead of Lissa for their practical like 6-week project thing. And I just got to the part where Rose is talking to Adrian because he's been kind of hanging out at St. Vladimir's. So yeah, I don't really remember much about this book, but I do remember liking this one a lot. So I'm really excited for this reread. And I think that's it for this intro. So I will update you once I get a little bit further in the book. Hello! I'm pretty sure I'm wearing the same thing I was wearing in the previous clip, but it's been like a week since I updated this vlog. It's a Sunday night. I'm teaching right now. I'm actually teaching 4 classes tonight, which is a lot more than I usually do in one day. I've taught 2 of them. I've got 2 more to go. Figured I would update you really quick because I've been reading the book a little bit today for the first time in over a week because I'm trying to not read a ton of books at once anymore and just focus on each one. A concept, I know. And so I finished the other book that I was reading earlier today. I was reading Serpent and Dove. And so now I'm all in and focused on Shadow Kiss again. I have a minute and a half till I have to get back on. So really quick, I'm 13% of the way through, which means I have about 10 hours left of this audiobook. And I'm just getting to the part where Rose and Christian are kind of bonding and having this little like she's following him to cooking class. They've both kind of come to this understanding that they realize that the other one's sort of jealous of the relationship that each has with Lissa, and I appreciate them like sort of coming to an understanding here. And I actually really like Christian's character. So anyway, I'll update you later. I have to go teach my class. Okay, I've been listening to the audiobook while I was doing laundry and stuff this morning. So let's do a quick update. 1, I'm at the part where Rose is doing volunteering for the church and she's talking to this young Moroi girl who's asking her to teach her how to fight. She's all excited and blah 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 blah, and she brings up that these kids in her class have been getting beat up and no one knows who's doing it. And Rose is like, that sounds really familiar, but I can't remember. Oh well. Like, I forgot how annoying it is that she's like dumb just for the sake of the plot. Like, I'm irritated by that. I'm also really irritated by the constant recapping of everything that's happened in the series so far. Like, I'm a decent chunk into the book and we're still doing a recap. Like when she goes to the feeder with Christian, she goes into this whole monologue. Feeders are humans. We know. It's the 3rd book in the series. Like, I remembered that the books did that, but I didn't realize it was this bad. But yeah, everything else that's going on. Rose is going through that like 6-week trial thing. They're being really unfair towards her. She's asking questions about Mason's ghost. It's okay so far. I thought I would be enjoying this one more than I am currently, but I think it might just be because I've just been reading little bits at a time. So I'm hoping to get a good chunk of the audiobook listened to while I do a bunch of other stuff today. So we'll see if that makes a difference. So they are now with the royal court. I am 42% of the way through. And one thing that's just becoming even more obvious to me is I was never really on board with Adrian and Rose to begin with. I kind of always knew she was gonna... I almost said a spoiler in case you haven't read the rest of the books. I never really got behind that relationship, and this book is just kind of reaffirming that. Like, I love Adrian as a character. I love the spin-off series Bloodlines because he's such an important character in that series, but him with Rose just like never made sense to me. We're at the royal court. Lissa just went to go talk to the queen. I'm enjoying it more now than I was at the beginning. Like I said, I've been listening to like a big chunk of it today, and I think that's why I'm liking it more. But how old was I when I read these books? Probably like 15 or something. I was so lenient with writing in books, like I didn't even really notice it, and now I'm just like, if I read a book like this for the first time today, I would tear it apart. The writing is just not great, and it's still doing the annoying recaps even though I'm like halfway through the book and it's the 3rd book in this series. So I'm about halfway in now. I think I'm on chapter 18. I just got to the part where Rose is flying back from the royal court and she keeps having these like really weird headaches and she's seeing ghosts and stuff. All of this I've completely forgotten about. Like I didn't remember this at all. And they went to the psychic reading where she basically got really dumb fortune told to her because I don't remember what it was actually from the last time I read these books, but it was clear the psychic was just telling her that because she didn't want to tell her whatever she'd actually seen. I guess I was wrong about what happened in this book. I think I was thinking about the one after this, so I'm looking forward to reading that one. This one feels a lot like filler and a lot like setup, like especially knowing what happens next, like it's setting up for a lot of things that are to come. We have Queen Tatiana accusing Rose of having an affair with Adrian. Everyone loves Lissa. Dimitri's been talking about his family and his past. And I don't know why I keep trying to listen to the audiobooks of these books because I don't like the narrator very much. So I think I would enjoy this more if I would just physically read the rest of it. So I just got to the part where Adrian was telling Rose that he can see their auras change when Lissa does her magic and how he thinks all of like the crazy parts of spirit are going into Rose. And I think this may be where my dislike of Lissa arose because of how unfair I found their friendship. Rose is essentially enslaved as a Dhampir anyway, who has to like give up her whole life to take care of her friend. And then on top of that, Lissa is just using her magic for fun and it's making Rose sick. I think this is probably where my hatred of this character started. But yeah, she got to that part and now she's talking with Adrian and she's figuring out what's happening with all of these Moroi because they started this like club, which is essentially like a white supremacist but for Moroi club where the royals think they're better than everyone else. So that's where I'm at. My feelings on this book I think are pretty much the same as they were the first time I read this. The whole like heart to heart with Dimitri and Rose when she told him about how she was seeing the ghost was really cute. Still rooting for them. Very frustrated on Rose's behalf that no one will believe her and that she has to go through all of this in the first place. Like this poor girl just watched her friend get murdered in front of her, then had to kill the one who killed him. Now she's seeing his ghost. No one believes her. She's going crazy and it's her friend's fault, and yet she still has to do everything to put that friend before herself. Just like, yeesh. So now we're learning that this feeder thinks that Rose is seeing ghosts because there's something wrong with the wards, which would make sense because she didn't have any sightings when she was at the royal court, but then she got a ton when she was outside of the wards, like on the plane and stuff. It's all coming back to me now. So I just made it to chapter 24. We're almost to the end. Basically what's happened was Lissa was just getting tortured by that stupid Moroi group because they were trying to initiate her. Rose took out the craziness and then went into like this blind rage of wanting to kill everyone. She and Dimitri just went and got it on in the woods in a cabin, and now she's seeing Mason's ghost who finally managed to warn her that they are coming. This is like the one part of the book that I did remember, except for the torturing of Lissa part. I forgot about that. Oh, also Christian tried to fight Adrian when he found out that the queen was trying to set up Adrian to marry Lissa. So much drama. So much drama. I think now I remember how this book ends. Probably the best cliffhanger in the series if I'm remembering it right. Okay, so now the Strigoi are attacking. Well, I actually just got to the end of the attack, the end. And Rose and Christian were going around fighting together with Christian using his magic and stuff. And I really like the little friendship acquaintance thing they have going on. I just got to the part where Dimitri reappears. And I stopped reading because I didn't want to read what happens next. I remember the first time I read this series. This moment was just like, I had never read anything like that. I was just like, oh my god. Oh my god, I forgot that Eddie died. The ending of this book is just not it. I thought Dimitri was gonna get attacked by a Strigoi right there. But now that they're talking about how some people got carried away, now I think I'm remembering them going after people who they think might still be alive. And that's when they get him. So this stress is gonna have to stick around for another 2 hours of this audiobook. So now they are discussing if they're gonna go after the other ones. Well, they've decided, and they've decided to let some of the Moroi teachers go with them too. Mason helped them figure out where the Strigoi are. And since I know what's gonna happen, it's just like ruins the entire effect because I'm just waiting for it to happen. I didn't remember much from this book, but I remembered this ending, so clearly that made an impression 6 years ago. I like that we're getting to see Rose like sort of come into herself, and people are starting to treat her more like an adult because, you know, her birthday's in like a week and she's supposed to graduate in a few months anyways and then be like a real guardian, and so people are finally letting her like actually participate. I still, for whatever reason, just don't like Lissa's character. I like Christian more now. I like Eddie. I like Adrian. It's just Lissa that just gets on my nerves, and it's like not even her fault. I think I just dislike her on Rose's behalf because Rose cares too much about her to resent her, so I'm resenting her for her. But yeah, we're down to the final countdown. We have 10% left. You know, Richelle Mead really knew what she was doing here. I'm noticing it a lot more now that I know what's coming. She like really sets it up. She has Rose and Dimitri have this conversation where Rose thinks he's gonna like regret sleeping with her, and he's like, no, I don't regret it. And he's like, when you graduate, I'll try to get assigned to someone else so we can be together and we can spend all this time together. And she builds up like all of this happiness and this perfect future they could have together. And then like 20 pages later, you know what happens? Like, I gotta hand it to her, smart from a writer's perspective to make the emotional impact that much stronger. It's good. It hurts, but it's good. Okay, two of the saddest scenes in this book, beyond just like Rose being really upset and trying to get to Dimitri and they wouldn't let her go inside, her talking to Lissa and like begging Lissa to go try and save him or heal him or bring him back if he is dead, and her just being like, I can't. And then her mom lying to her, even though like she knows she's lying, saying like, oh, they were probably dead and they probably just dragged them off, instead of saying what they both knew, that they probably turned him into a Strigoi. Okay, I was wrong. Add one more really sad scene to the list. Adrian helping Rose get away and also asking her to give him a fair chance when she comes back. I just love Adrian so much and I feel so sorry for him. But this makes me so much more excited to get to Bloodlines. Honestly, I've been saying that since the beginning. Honestly, I'm rereading Vampire Academy, the whole series, because I liked the series, but more so because I love the Bloodline series and I feel like I needed to reread this first one before I got to that series. I just want to read about Adrian and Sydney. Okay, I just finished the book and I was wrong. I think this was the moment when I started to hate Lissa. It's also one of my favorite scenes in this book, is when Rose finally tells her off. Not even like tells her off, she just finally stands up for herself and is like, I've lived for you my entire life, but I need to do this for me. And Lissa's response to that is to try to use compulsion on her to keep her there, and to like basically emotionally manipulate her and guilt trip her and be like, you love him more than you love me. That is when I lost all respect for that character, and that is when I started to hate her. So yeah, we leave off Mason's ghost finally leaving. Mason is finally at peace, which I appreciate because I love Mason. Rose is going off to try and kill Dimitri because they had that whole conversation about they would rather be dead than be Strigoi, so she feels like she owes him. She needs to go take care of that for him. And of course, that cute little scene with Adrian. Poor Adrian. That's my whole takeaway from this book, is poor Adrian. So yeah, that is Shadow Kiss. I finished it. I was expecting to enjoy this more than I did. I didn't dislike it by any means. I'm trying to pull up my Goodreads, but for whatever reason it's not loading right now. I'm assuming I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars the first time I read it, because that's what I did for every book I read 6 years ago. This would not have been a 5-star read for me today if I'd read it for the first time. Probably like a solid 4-star, maybe like a 3.75 star. This is a prime example of, I think, at least for me, a writer's ability to do storytelling well is more important than writing well, because I don't think the writing in here is very good, but I really like the story and I really like the characters, so the storytelling trumps the writing in here for me for sure. Yeah, I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars when I read it. I think this time around I would still give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I wasn't really into it for like the first third of it, but the second part really picked up for me. I'm excited for the next book in the series. I'm really excited to get to Bloodlines. I love that we got to see more of Adrian in this book. I'm excited to see less of Lissa in the next book. So yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on this book down below in the comments, and let me know when the last time you read it is. I know some people are watching this because they're reading them right now with me, and some people also like me read them like 6 years ago and have just been watching these reading vlogs to kind of vicariously relive through this series. So I would be interested to know if you've read these recently and what you thought of them, or if you read them forever ago and what your thoughts were on them. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you for the Blood Promise vlog hopefully very soon. And if you're new here, I would love it if you would subscribe and stick around. I put up at least 2 to 3 new videos every single week. All my links are down below in the description if you want to come follow me elsewhere. If you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you would give it a thumbs up. And I'll see you guys in my next video very, very soon. Bye.
So hit me. So hit me. So hit me. First a confession. With you I feel a connection. With